So what do you expect we're going to hear tomorrow morning, as we were just talking about being 12 hours behind or ahead?
Well, I think the president has come to make a deal, as he likes to make, and he wants to certainly divert attention from the testimony that will take place today. He may not have answered the question to the press about Michael Cohen, but he tweeted about it this morning when I wish he would have been focused on getting ready for this historic meeting with Kim Jong Un. So,
but in truth, it has to be a distraction.
Absolutely a distraction. Well, clearly it is. He's tweeted about that. I think what we're going to see is Kim Jong Un will put something concrete on the table, but it won't be much, maybe to dismantle some of the facilities at Yongbyon. I think the president is going to do a political statement about the end of the Korean War. I think he's going to open liaison offices with North Korea. I think he may give South Korea encourage some waivers to sanctions so they can get going with the Kaesong Industrial Park and with the railway between North and South Korea. But I think the people who are going to be really happy today are Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin of Russia.
Okay, so let's speak about that, because I know that as you look at these images right now, pictures that I think you probably never thought would ever take place between a U.S. president and this leader. Is this a positive for you?
Well,
I mean,
look,
given the advice that you've offered previous presidents on this topic?
Well, look, President Clinton was ready to go to Pyongyang if we could cut a deal, but at the end of the process, not at the beginning of the process. I supported these two guys getting together because they both think they're the only ones who matter, and maybe it could make a breakthrough, but these things only work if you do the detailed diplomacy, the detailed negotiations. They're having this dinner tonight. Steve Biegun, who's the special envoy, who actually is doing the nitty-gritty negotiations, isn't in that dinner. And although it may be a social dinner, the real work is the work that Steve is doing.
To the degree that the economy and the markets are focused on this, but they're focused on this really as a bank shot relative to China. You mentioned President Xi. He is watching this right now and thinking what?
He is thinking, well, first of all, I didn't get a tariff increase because the president wanted to make sure we had good relations as he went into the North Korea summit, so I'm sitting here holding the leverage. He's thinking, I'm responsible for the North Korean economy, so I hold the final decision about whether this proceeds or doesn't proceed. I'm glad the president's making peace and really agreeing that he can stay de facto exactly as he is, which is a country that has nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. So the president of China's a pretty happy guy this morning.
So do you think this is in the best interest of the United States, this summit?
Look, Larry, I want the president to succeed. I don't want North Korea to have nuclear weapons or the means to deliver them, and certainly not to the United States. But the fact of the matter is, as our intelligence community has said, it is absolutely unlikely that he will do that because this is all about his regime survival. And we will have to go a very long way, and this will be a very long and very tough negotiation.
Ask a question about regime survival, actually not in North Korea, but in the United States, which is to say that if you're negotiating with a president of our country, it may very well be that Donald Trump remains the president for an additional 4 years after 2020. It may not. And if you're Kim Jong Un, how do you think about that relative to this negotiation?
You try to get as much as you can before the honeymoon is over. I mean, these two guys have said they have a bromance going. And so before the breakup, you try to get everything you can. Keep that diamond ring.
You said breakup. You think there's a breakup between these two, or you're saying
no?
There's a potential
political breakup.
And then in terms of China, my other question is President Xi behind the scenes, or any other Chinese leader behind the scenes, whispering in the ear of the North Korean leader?
I don't think it is an accident at all that Kim Jong Un took a 68-hour train ride through China to get to Vietnam. He was really paying respect and deference to the Chinese. He knows where his butter is really spread, and it is with Xi Jinping.
What's the best case scenario for what comes out of this?
What we really need to have here is a true, ongoing, deliberate negotiation with a pace of negotiations that gets us to a more secure place. What we will see, I think, out of this summit is some deal, but that deal won't take us very far, and I believe that Kim will get more than we get.
Explain that, though. Gets what, though?
I think what it will get us is a step maybe to him beginning to dismantle one of his major facilities at Yongbyon, but he will get a lot from us. And the problem with even a political statement that the war is over is that it says that the United States is disengaging from Northeast Asia. Whether our troops leave tomorrow or leave months from now, because there will have to be a negotiation process for a new treaty, that nonetheless, this will add to the disengagement by the United States from around the world.
Do you think our troops leave South Korea in a matter of months at the outset?
I think that is possible. I hope they don't, but I think that's
not
possible.
even officially on the table at this point.
That is not on the table, and the president has said it is not on the table. But if you have a peace agreement, even if it's a political one, and you're moving towards a peace treaty, it gives the rationale for North Korea to say, well, if we're at peace, what are your troops doing in South Korea?